Hello and welcome to Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland. I'm joined as always by my co-host and dad, Rick Cleveland of Mississippi Today. Dad joining us this week via Zoom from Phoenix, where he is on site for this week's Fiesta Bowl between Ole Miss and Miami in the National College Football Semifinal. Dad, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm looking out my window at a bunch of cacti.
Yeah. How's the weather out there?
It is absolutely gorgeous. Gets cool at night and about 70 degrees and sunny in the day. Yeah.
Sounds like golf weather is what it sounds like.
It is, and I have my sticks with me, but I don't know that I'm going to have an opportunity. But I'm a threat if I do get an opportunity.
And you're missing one of your key golf partners. I'd just like to throw it out there. Dad, we've got so much to cover this week with Ole Miss in the semifinal, recapping last week's Sugar Bowl win over Georgia, which is one of the most electric things I've ever seen. But we got to start this morning with congratulations to you. The National Sports Writers Association named you the Mississippi Sports Writer of the Year for the 15th time, as announced earlier this week. So congratulations from me. And I know, that you do not like to be, pointed out in this way, but, I think some kudos are in order.
Well, I appreciate it, but I am much, much more excited about our buddy
Ross Dellinger
from Biloxi, formerly the Clarion Ledger. He's National Sports Writer of the Year, and man, he deserves it. He has done some, in all this NIL transfer portal era of college football, he's been more on top of it than anybody.
Well, he does the dirty
he's
work.
Right there in Washington, D.C. now, and he's got great contacts in Congress and all that. He knows what's going on.
He does the dirty work. He going to games and writing stories is fun.
Yeah.
Going to sit in congressional hearings, less so.
Yeah, but he's good at both. He's really good at both. And you know what, Tyler, he'll come on the show when we ask him to.
Well, we're real happy for Ross, and it was good to see him down in New Orleans last week, and I'm sure he's out in Phoenix with you now.
He gets in this afternoon.
Yeah, let's quickly talk about last week's game before we look ahead to this Thursday's game. The atmosphere in the Superdome, I don't think could have been any more electric for Ole Miss. The fans showed up, vastly outnumbered the Georgia fans. It felt like a home game. Even Kirby Smart said as much. And the Rebels didn't disappoint, man. I think other than a couple of fluke plays, they thoroughly outplayed Georgia on college football's biggest stage, especially in the South.
They did. It was, and I'm guessing the fan count was somewhere around 70-30 Ole Miss fans to Georgia fans. And frankly, the Ole Miss fans had a lot more to cheer, so you heard them a lot more often. Statistically, Tyler, as you said, the game wasn't as close as the final score was. I mean, Ole Miss got lots more yards, held the ball lots more time. And, once again, I just thought it was a lot of the game was the Trinidad Chambliss show. I can't get over how good that kid is and how special he is when it matters most.
Yeah, he's played pretty fantastic, and his numbers from that game back it up, 362 yards and 2 touchdowns, the game's offensive MVP. He has been everywhere media-wise since then, made the announcement that if he gets his waiver to play a 6th year of college football, it will be at Ole Miss. Same with Lacey, So I think Kejuan Lacey, the running back, also coming back if next year. Just really good news all the way around for Ole Miss, and I think it kind of helps. It could have been quite the distraction going forward if they hadn't recommitted already. How big is that for you in your eyes, and not so much for next year? I mean, obviously it's huge for Ole Miss next year, but just to kind of get it out of the way so it's not a topic of conversation the rest of the way.
I think it's big. I mean, although I will say this, it sure has none of this has seen none of those off-field controversial type things that seem to matter to these guys. And I think that's a credit to Pete Golding. I think he's been very upfront about everything since what happened. And the players obviously love and respect him and want to play for him, want to play hard for him. Yeah. I mean, I think he's handled this situation absolutely as well as it could have been handled.
Do you think that some of this may be like Trinidad and Kewan Lacey recommitting to Ole Miss? Do you think, I mean, because I think the consensus was when Kiffin left that he was going to raid this roster and take a bunch of players with him. How much of their decision, I mean, I know you can't speculate on what's going on in the minds of 21-year-olds who are signing a new contract, but do you think maybe some of this could be a blowback to what's happened since then? I mean, with the story our buddy Ross broke about LSU and Kiffin recalling the coaches they could recall outside of offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss, who apparently is still going to LSU but is going to coach in this game, and they recall the rest of the coaches. I mean, do you think some of this is blowback on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that has something to do with it, but don't forget the dollars are having a lot to do with it too, and I'm sure Ole Miss is matching anything out there. But yeah, I do think it has something to do with it. I mean, there's got to be some sense of abandonment among the players. You fight, you sweat, you endure injuries, you play your best through spring training, summer training, fall, and then the coach leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get to the precipice, when you get to the point that you were trying to get to, when you get to the edge of glory, and then he just says, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, I think that the reason that we heard all this news immediately after the Sugar Bowl is that even Kiffin didn't think Ole Miss would be playing past last Thursday.
No, I don't think he did. I don't think so either. And Tyler, it's not a given that Charlie Weiss is going to LSU. I mean, the big story out of New York this week is that the Giants are really interested in him as the offensive coordinator so he can continue mentoring his guy,
Jackson Dart.
I mean, this is just me, and you know how I feel about this whole thing. I think that would be poetic justice.
I know how you feel about Kiffin. I'll say that. Dad, before we move off of the last week's game and look ahead to Miami, I just want to say one more thing, and that's there was a moment late in the first quarter when Georgia drove the field and scored a touchdown to take the lead where they absolutely bullied Ole Miss down the field. I think it was an 8-play drive, and they ran it 7 times and went right at them.
Yeah, I turned to you and said, this is what I was afraid they were going to do.
Yes. So after that drive, though, there was an adjustment made, and I don't know, I love football. I've been watching it my whole life, and I can tell you a lot about a game based on just a few minutes of watching it, but I cannot tell you what adjustments were made other than the guys up front really stepped up for Ole Miss.
They did. I think Ole Miss moved another man into the box a couple times too.
Xavier Harris, Will Eccles, Cam Franklin, these guys were indispensable in that game, and it may be my favorite thing about this team right now are those 3 guys up front on defense seem to be playing their very best, and all 3 of them are from Mississippi. I think it's in a usual year, that's what separates Ole Miss from Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and these other teams is talent up front. And I think, it's cool that Ole Miss can match them now, and it's even cooler that it's all homegrown talent.
I couldn't agree with you more. I will say that I think that Miami is the one team, and maybe Indiana. I hadn't seen enough of Indiana. But Miami is the one team that up front defensively, I don't know that there's anybody better than they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just bullies. And they, what have they got, 11 sacks in 2 playoff games?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Against really good competition now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of sacking. But here's what I think about that, Tyler. I think they haven't rushed a guy like this one yet. I mean, they may get there, but getting him down is a different deal.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that Miami is a 3-point favorite. I mean, the way they've played in the playoffs so far, especially defensively, has been really impressive. The defensive line, as you mentioned, has been outstanding. And the only thing I worry about is if you look back at the Sugar Bowl, a couple, I guess it was about 4 or 5 of Trinidad Chambliss's incompletions were passes batted down at the line, or that somebody got a hand on. And, Trinidad is fantastic. He's not your prototypical NFL prospect. He's not, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". He's not a real big guy. And so, they got to find a way to move the pocket around or get him where he has some wide open looks. Because if you ask him to stay in the pocket and throw it over the heads of these giant defensive linemen from Miami, I think that could be problematic, as it was against Georgia the other night.
Yeah, but, it's like game after game after game, Tyler. It's 330 yards, 350 yards, 365 yards. Always several touchdowns and always almost no interceptions or no interceptions. I mean, he's been pretty much a model of consistency, and I think his escapability as compared to Carson Beck of Miami is the X factor that favors Ole Miss.
Well, I mean, there were a couple of those plays against Georgia that that if they had been the only key play to the game, would live in Ole Miss lore forever.
Well, he made them time after time after time. And the one where he circled back to the end zone, and finally found Lacey for a big first down, I thought during the play, this reminds me of Archie Manning. And then somebody sent me the clip of David Kellum's call of the game, and he says it while he's scrambling.
Yeah,
he says this looks like Archie Manning, and for us old folks, it was quite a remembrance. Yeah.
Well, on that play, they snapped that ball at the 28, and he turned around and got all the way back to the 2 before they completing that pass, and then Lacey with the second effort to get the first down. Incredible.
He probably ran 50 yards on that play.
I think the combination of Chambliss and Lacey are the best 1-2 punch at quarterback and running back left in the tournament. It's crazy that we're in this situation. But as I mentioned, Dad, Miami a 3-point favorite, which is what they opened at, I believe, on a neutral field against a higher seed. I think ESPN gives them Ole Miss a 44% chance of winning the football game. And just your thoughts on that, because I'm surprised. First of all, I guess it's because of how Miami has played in the playoffs so far that people are so bullish on the Hurricanes.
That's the only thing. Well, and that's definitely it's there. I mean, they have been just, again, they've been like bullies. They just bludgeon Texas A&M and Ohio State. But I'm just telling you, if I was making the point spread, I would have made Ole Miss a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, I think it's just a pick 'em. Honestly, I would, if one of the two teams was at home, I would favor them. But otherwise, I think it's pretty much a wash. And I think the other thing that has something to do with it is that Ole Miss, for better or worse, despite what happened last Thursday, is playing with a head coach who will be coaching his second college football game.
This will be his third.
His third, that's right, because of Tulane. That's right.
It's the national semifinals.
Right.
But you know what? All I have seen so far, I haven't seen anything that would tell you that.
Right.
Where you would say, oh, man, he shouldn't have done that or anything like that. I think he's just handled it as well as it could be handled. And again, he's learned. He's been under some of the best, including the GOAT Nick Saban, and well, all four of
Yeah,
these.
everybody's coached under Saban. I don't know.
Yeah, every one of them. But he just handles it really well. He's just my hat's off to him.
Well, kind of take us through what's going on. You're the man on the ground in Phoenix. What's the schedule look like between now and the game on Thursday?
Well, Miami got here last night. There was no availability for the media. We got them, their coaches, coordinators, head coach, and several players will be available at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And then Ole Miss flies in while Miami's doing that, and then the availability for Ole Miss is later this afternoon. Yeah, that's pretty much what's happened so far. I will say this: if you ever have a chance to come to the Camelback Spa and Resort, it's a JW Marriott property. That's where the media hotel is, and it's pretty sweet.
Well, hopefully they'll keep you well pampered until Thursday.
2 world-class golf courses on the premises too.
Oh, well, no wonder you took your sticks.
Yeah, I just don't know if my best chance would probably be game day.
That's always the best time.
Yeah,
it's always the best time. Dad, we got a few more topics to get to today. We've got the Saints have wrapped their season, as has Mississippi State. We'll start with the Bulldogs, the losers of Wake Forest in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So kind of a mixed bag for Jeff Lebby. They lose the football game, but he didn't have to get doused with 4.5 gallons of mayonnaise. So there's that.
I think he might have preferred that.
Well, I think they should douse the loser. I mean, I think it's like a universal response to finding out that the winning coach gets doused with mayonnaise is that they should douse the loser. My girlfriend said it immediately, and every other person I've talked to about it says the same. I don't get it. But other than being disgusted by the amount of people taking shots of straight mayonnaise during the game, what were your thoughts from that? And, I mean, it's kind of a disappointing way to end a ho-hum season for Mississippi State, a season that started with just so much promise after those first couple of games.
Yeah, it's just kind of these bowl games that aren't playoff games have become so much like exhibitions. It's just Mississippi State had several players that didn't play.
It's key players on defense.
Yeah, the whole game. I just got to say it. It just looked like Wake Forest kind of wanted to be there, and Mississippi State kind of was. I'm not sure.
I thought it felt like a microcosm of their whole season. They were playing well early. They were outgaining Wake Forest by a lot. They were, in the lead, but just barely. Should have been ahead by a lot more. And then late in the game, they just kind of fell apart. I mean, it's the same thing as what happened during the season. I mean, they were playing inspired and everything was going well, and we started talking not which bowl game they would get, whether they would get to a bowl game, but which one. And then at the end of the year, it's like, well, they're, they get into a bowl game based on their APR, but I mean, it's not like, I don't know. I just felt like they just kind of not quit, but just faded.
Yeah, it did sort of seem as a microcosm of the season. The one thing you could hang your hat on if you're a Bulldog is the quarterback, and then it looked like they might have lost him forever. And thankfully, apparently the injury is not nearly as bad or as gruesome as it looked. It
looked horrible. And if you listen to our buddy Robbie Falk's podcast, the Thunder and Lightning podcast, their post game, I mean, it was they were talking about it as if he was already out for half of next season. I mean, that's how bad it looked. And apparently,
it could have been. I mean, it looked like that.
That would have been the nightmare scenario for Mississippi State because, as you said, the one takeaway I had from it was, hey, at least they got this guy who is, he's got to get the pieces around him, but he is he has the potential to be an all SEC type player. He's got all the physical gifts that you could ask for.
Yeah, when he gets in the open field, he reminds me of Reggie Collier.
I'll tell you, because I did not see Reggie Collier play live, it reminds me of Vince Young. That's who it looks like to me.
Well, Reggie Collier was Vince Young before Vince Young. Yeah.
Well, so at least they got that going, because it's got to be frustrating to be a Mississippi State fan right now to, finish 5-8 after a loss to Wake Forest in the Duke's Mayo Bowl while Ole Miss is in the National College Football semifinal.
Yeah, with these two programs, it's you're always measuring yourself against the other guy, and the difference has rarely been more stark than it is right now.
Yeah, well, hopefully, it's going to be a long off season, but hopefully they'll be able to. I think the biggest thing is money. Obviously, that's what's driving this whole thing at this point. So that's what it's going to take.
Oh, that's the good news and the bad news, because the good news is you can turn it around faster. The bad news is you can spend a whole lot of money and not get much better too.
Yeah.
So,
well, we were talking about it the other day with Ross, and he talks to donors and stuff, and I don't think he'd mind me sharing. It's like the guy that the program used to go to and say, hey, we need $500,000 because we're updating our, weightlifting room, so we can get a couple new recruits to come in. Now that guy has to give $500,000, biannually at the, just to re-recruit the guy that he already gave him $500,000 to sign.
Yeah.
So it's an arms race with no end in sight. So let's talk about something that's a little more fair, which is the NFL. The Saints have finished their season, fell one game short of what we thought they might be able to do, winning the last however many in a row. At one point they were 2-10, and I think they finished 6-11. So a great way to finish the year. And as I think I said on the show last week, I can finally see what the staff and the GM there about what they were seeing when they put this team together. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I just need to know whether should fans invest in their Tyler Shuck jersey now?
Yes. He's the real deal. Let me tell you something. They would have beaten the Falcons solidly had they had Olave and a couple other receivers that they're missing. And although what's the running back's name?
That's Demay.
Yeah, well, he's solid, but they could use a back that can get big yardage, too.
If you're talking about this game in particular, he played fine. It was just the drops at receiver that killed him.
The receivers is the first thing I mentioned. It's just, that was Olave makes a huge difference for them.
And if they had Olave and the Vele guy who's the new Marcus Colston, I think they could have hung with anybody at the end of the year.
Well, certainly anybody in their division.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just not a very good division, and I think they may win it next year.
A division that sent the Carolina Panthers, this Carolina Panthers team that lost to the Saints twice to the playoffs, is unreal.
Yeah,
I think you got to buy now on Saints stock. I'm telling you, they're. I think, as you just said, I think they're the favorites to win that division next year. Boy, it's wild to think, at 2-10 that I would be saying at the end of the year that things are on the up and up. But man, they got 8 draft picks. They don't have to take a quarterback. I think there's serious potential there.
Yeah, Tyler, we ought to tell listeners we're going to have a special edition of Crooked Letter podcast Friday after the game.
Yeah, Friday morning we'll do one.
We're going to record it Friday morning, and we'll turn it around as soon as we can and get it up there. Hopefully be talking about a national championship game.
Yeah, hopefully so. And the morning after I think it's a great time slot because it's not my immediate reactions, which can be a little overblown at times. If you're Ole Miss, Dad, what's your position going into this game? I think the common refrain I keep hearing is, why not us?
Yeah, that's got to be it. Why not? There's 4 teams saying that right now. Let's face it, these are 4 really good teams. And But Ole Miss belongs there. They proved it against Georgia. And, yeah, if I'm Ole Miss, that's definitely what I'm saying. Why not us?
Well, if anybody out there is looking for an example of how the landscape of college football has changed in the NIL era, just look at this Final Four. I mean, Miami is the only one that has a national championship in the last 20 years or ever. I mean, it's completely turned on its head.
Yes, it has.
Who you like in the other game?
Indiana. They made a believer out of me. That's who I like. Who you like?
I think Oregon's playing pretty well. I mean, it was pretty close the first time they played up in Autzen Stadium. So I don't know. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a one-score game. And if Oregon plays as well defensively as they did last week, I think they got a great chance to win. Yeah,
every team left has a chance to win it all. But Indiana they are really, really good. Yeah. I mean, really good. I think an Indiana-Ole Miss matchup would be the most intriguing.
I think so too. Boy, Indiana just dismantled Alabama. I mean, it wasn't even – they beat them like a team that can't run the football, which is what they were, but somehow had gotten to the point, where they were one of the 8 teams left.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I saw it happen 3 times this year, Florida State, Georgia, and the SEC championship game. And then Indiana, where Alabama got
just beaten badly.
I mean, that's just it's kind of new to me.
You think they're going to spend some money on offensive linemen?
I think they're going to spend money everywhere. Yeah, I really do. Tyler, one more thing, and I can't wait to get to some hoops. There's so much been going on football-wise. We just hadn't talked that much about it, but what a big win for State the other night against Texas on the road.
Yeah, in a tough environment and a game that, like when I remember I was watching it when Texas took the lead, I was like, well, because they had not led for 25 minutes or whatever it was, and they took the lead in the second half, and I was like, well, here we go. But boy, they found a way, and they're a pretty damn good basketball team. And if the trajectory keeps going and they keep getting better, man, they can make some serious noise.
Yeah, they're good. And I keep waiting for Chris Beard to get it turned around at Ole Miss, but there's something missing. I'm not sure what.
Well, perimeter shooting for one. I mean, well, we can get it. We don't have to get into it today, but there are some things missing.
Yeah.
So, well, Dad, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know you got a real busy schedule out there, and with Ole Miss not even on the ground yet.
It gets busy this afternoon.
Yeah, well, hopefully the Rebels would get busy over there in the desert, and this will be an exciting game on Thursday.
And I look forward to talking to you Friday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll recap the whole thing, and we'll enjoy it. That's all the time we got this week. Thanks, everybody, for listening in. Drive safely this week if you're going out to watch the game somewhere, and we'll talk to you on Friday.